Hello, and welcome to the debut episode of The Artist's Why, a podcast series where I interview artists of all disciplines: writers, musicians, actors, visual artists, filmmakers, storytellers, and even surfboard makers to ask them what they do, how they do it, and most importantly, why they do it. I hope you'll find here some inspiration, guidance, and advice. My name's Patrick. I'm a writer and screenwriter myself. Um, and my debut episode features my good friend María Vázquez, who created the interior design brand Dr. Living Home, which also became an online community. And recently, Maria has pivoted into visual art in the form of illustrations, painting, pottery, and more. I really loved talking to Maria for this episode. She was so generous with her time and so vulnerable in explaining her creative process and her personal journey towards becoming an amazing artist. She's also just so great at expressing the process of how to overcome creative blocks, and she talks a lot about that and the joys of discovering your voice as an artist and discovering your confidence. Um, I think another amazing thing she talks about is the role of outsider artists, and she emphasizes that it really isn't necessary to be coming from within the system or to have formal training in art to express yourself. And the outsider artists have a very important role in the creation of art and culture. So, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Maria now, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks for being here. Okay, here we go. Let's be serious, but also have fun. Um, so, Maria, can you describe for us how you make art? In other words, what kind of artist would you describe yourself as?
I guess would be a painter. The name I would use to describe my art: painter, illustrator, a decorator as well. I guess because sometimes I just love decorating um, spaces or furniture. So yeah, I guess my medium is mostly paint, paper, um, but I'm still exploring, to be honest.
And I mean, you've been through kind of a journey as a creative person. Your first career was in graphic design, is that right?
Yes, advertising, graphic design.
And then you moved into interior design.
hmm Yes. You want
Do
me
you
to
want to?
walk you through that
Yeah. I mean,
journey?
let's walk us through that. Yeah, and how you've ended up now being a visual
Yes.
artist, painter, illustrator.
Um, Possibly I always was a painter and illustrator. I just didn't have the confidence for many different reasons. One, I didn't have any examples like around me. I thought artists were this like almost like another like a different race, like a different thing. And I admire them. I always liked art and visual stuff, but it was so far removed from my world that I never could imagine that I could do something like that. And also, I had some confidence issues and stuff. But creativity was always there. I always like draw when I was a kid. I was always drawing and painting, and making stuff with my hands, and then even painting on. Do you remember Paint on Windows? That like software for painting? No? Oh
Oh
my god,
yes,
it
yeah,
was.
I remember. I remember the software. Yeah. I thought you meant literally
Yeah.
on Windows.
No, 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 on PC. So I'd use that and do my little paintings, I guess. But I never connected like, oh, there's something in me that wants to come out. I just thought, oh, I just like creativity. So decided to go with to study advertising because I thought I was, I thought that I could make like create adverts that would make people feel good. That was I was a child of the 90s and capitalism, so obviously I swallowed all of it, right? Like the Coca-Cola adverts that made you feel so good on Christmas, and I was like, oh my god, I want to do that. So that's how I started. And then I realized that I didn't like advertising at all. I was not interested in selling anything. What I liked was the visual part of it. I like branding. I like graphic design. Um, Playing with layouts and all of that. I was always drawn to that part. But then after a few years working in advertising, I started missing like going back to my hands. And I was like working with my hands, and I was trying to bring that into my work, like maybe like, creating something on paper and then taking a photograph. There was something in me that was um, calling me to go back to working with my hands. And then there was also a big life moment transformation when I quit advertising, and I moved to an empty flat with my then boyfriend. So I wanted to make it look pretty. It was my first like adult flat, and I didn't want to go to IKEA and just buy stuff like everybody else. I wanted to make it look nice, but I didn't have the money to afford designer pieces, so I just started making them. And then it was like something clicked in me, and I just started like I became obsessed with. I made everything painted, you know, recycle, upcycled, all kinds of things. I was just like obsessed with that, and then that turned into a business eventually, an online business. It started just as a blog. I was sharing all these things I was doing because people were like, "Oh my god, that looks so pretty! That looks so pretty!" And I thought, okay, maybe I can share it online. And then that started growing. That's when I thought, okay, maybe this can turn into a business. Because I always wanted to have my own business, but didn't. I was not good with the sales and public relations part. So I thought if I do it online, I don't need that part. I can just showcase my work and the work will speak for itself. So that's how it started. And I was really enjoying it the first few years. But then, then you start becoming, or I started becoming worried about like, is this going to be too weird? Should I decorate this room and make it safer? Because maybe people are not going to like it. And if they don't like it, they're not going to hire me to work for them, or they're not going to buy my courses because they're going to think, oh, look at that wacky thing. I don't want that in my house. And all
And
of that.
we should
Hmm.
say just for people who aren't aware that so the name of your brand at that time was
Was
Dr. Living Home,
Dr. Living Home. Yes. Yes.
and you grew into you had quite a large, still do have quite a large following on Instagram
Yes.
through this. So you had an audience that you felt
Hmm.
beholden to. Can you describe a bit about that? That growing as an Instagram influencer, or how would you describe it? From you're blogging for fun about these interior design moves that you're making for yourself to you're blowing up on Instagram and it's becoming a business and you got to like you know I mean what was your follower count at its peak?
I think 22,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've lost a few since I stopped posting, but yeah, something like that. Um, yeah, it was a combination of things. Some big names started to repost me, like Emily Henderson, for example, for the interior design aficionados.
Aficionados. Yeah.
Exactly. Um, so that helped a lot. And then I started just focusing on that, just started to like working with the. Actually, I have to say, also when I did it, it wasn't as hard as it is today. The algorithm was still, beginning stages, so it wasn't. It was just much more organic, and it also felt safer. Like I didn't feel like now it just it's it's about performance. Back then, it just felt much nicer. Like you were sharing things with people, and people would like it, and they would respond positively.
And
and just a lot more fun.
when are we talking about exactly?
2017, yeah, around that time. Um,
And so
and
how quickly did you kind of realize, wow, I'm blowing up here?
I mean, I don't consider it a blow up. It was like a steady increase, which is good because the people that followed me, they're still following me today. And some people, even if I'm not posting anymore, and some people still text, send a little DM sometimes like, "Are you okay? Is everything going? Is everything going all right?" Because they really connected with me, with what I did, and with my message. And so, but it was quite organic. It was not like a overnight thing. And the business, it took, I think, a couple of years for it to be profitable. Yes. Um, and that was, with a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, and it allowed me to come back to live here in Galicia. I was living in Madrid because I was working there. The biggest advertising agencies are there. That's where the jobs were. But I wanted to leave Madrid, and Dr. Living Home allowed me to do that. So I'm very grateful for that chapter. But there was a moment where I just felt I just lost all my spark and all my confidence in it as well, and my inspiration. I think I burnt out.
And
Um,
you were saying also that you felt somehow constrained, as though maybe you wanted to go weirder or make
yes,
choices that didn't fit with what you thought your audience expected of you.
yes, exactly. There were so many times when I was posting maybe two photos of two bedrooms or two living rooms, like which one do you prefer, for engagement and things like that. And they would consistently choose the one I liked the least, which was the least interesting, the safest option. When I wanted to see different things and play with patterns and colors, and but people just, most people want very safe environment, very safe places with neutral colors. So I felt a bit um, maybe trapped in that sense. And also, those types of images would get more likes on Instagram. So then you start playing for the algorithm instead of expressing your creativity. It's like, oh no, but I need to keep my engagement up, because if not, then people are not going to see my posts, and then they're not going to buy my course. And so everything, creativity started losing started becoming like a supporting actress instead of the main character. And and I think that was a big part of why I just started losing interest.
And so, was there a point where you realized, I want to make something else as an artist, or I want to go down a different path?
It was again another life changing moment. uh, I just started losing interest, and even if I didn't want to let it go, because it was like, what do I do if I let go of that? What's the other option? Go back to Madrid and work in advertising companies, working long hours, just spending half my salary or more in on rent. It's like I felt like, no, 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 I need to keep going. I need to keep doing this. So it took me a while. It took me like 2 years to let go. And but it was obvious to me and to people around me that it was getting harder. Like, to do anything was just writing an email or writing a newsletter. I started dreading the newsletters, the marketing strategies. It was just like, ugh. Like, I was really struggling with that. And and then I think actually our friend Hannah, we met in Madrid, and I just I burst into tears, and I told her everything. Like, I'm feeling this way, and I don't know what to do. Like, uh, I saw no exit, and she recommended The Artist's Way, the book. Yes, she said, I hadn't read it, but so many people have told me it's amazing, and I think it's a good thing for you to read in this moment. And I bought it. I remember we were in Madrid, bought it, and when I just started reading it, it was like, this is exactly what I need right now, because well, you read it, and so many people have read it, and it connected with me with what I needed at the moment, which was like speaking to my soul. I was going through a big moment in my life of inner transformation as well, and it just spoke to that. It wasn't about like three techniques to develop your creativity. It was deeper, and I was just mm, enamored with it. And it was doing those the exercise, writing the morning pages and all of that, when two things kept coming back. I want to paint, and I want to talk about mental health, which was not an aspect that I considered before. Like painting, yes, I was like painting creativity, but talking about mental health, it's like so hyper focused. Like, okay, creativity is my thing, and it never occurred to me that I had other passions or callings. But doing those exercises, it was like clear. Like, if money was not an issue, what would you do? And I was like, I would paint and I would talk about mental health. Um, so yeah, around that time, then it was when I decided that I had to let go of the business and take a leap and stop, or pause at least, because it was really struggling. I was struggling more and more. And then, very cliche, I know, but that's when I went to Bali. I took a break and went to Bali for a few months. and, and also, Bali was like the place where I needed to be at that moment. Like, I felt like I need to go somewhere where I can be far from everyone and everything, because I had so much noise in my head about what I need to do, what people think, what people are going to think, what's gonna happen, what the right thing to do, blah 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 blah. And I was like, if I just need to get away from all of that. And I went there with the idea of, then I'm gonna come up with my new business idea, or my new career path, or my new this whatever. And when I was there, what I realized is that I needed to just be silent. I needed to stop doing, and I needed to just like understand what was going on underneath all of that blah 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 and all that worrying and all that. And so that's what I did. I just spent so many hours just sitting on my balcony, looking at the palm trees, just doing nothing, just going on walks, meditating, doing some meditation workshops and stuff. And it was after a meditation workshop I did for 3 days, um, that I was in my room, and I just had this moment on, oh, like, I don't want to leave this room. I just want to stay here. I don't want to see anyone. I don't want to talk to anyone. It was Christmas, by the way. And I was like, oof, no, I just need complete silence. So I stayed there. I mean, I went out for lunch and stuff, but I needed that time. And then
It was Christmas Day, or it was the week of Christmas. When are we speaking about
it's
exactly?
Christmas Day. Christmas
This
Day.
was Christmas Day. This happened. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. The workshop, I think, finished either the 23rd of December or the 24th.
Yeah.
And I went out and I was all happy, and I went, I met some like people I met there, and we went for drinks, but it was the next day I woke up, was like, no. Like, there's some stuff happening here. I just need to be by myself. And so yeah, that's what I did. I just stayed with myself, and I was meditating, having this so many breakthroughs and visions. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that I was seeing things in my room, but like in my mind. And there was just one moment when I just needed to express something, and I felt like, just draw it. And I had this like, but I can't, I can't. I don't know how to. I can't. No, just do it, even if it's a shitty drawing. Just do it. Just express it. And I did it. and it was me and my mom. And then he was like, "You see, you can do it. Maybe it's not, museum level or quality, but you can do it. You can do it. You can express something, an idea or a concept or something that you have in you." And then it was like something like unlocked, and that's when I started painting and drawing.
And that was how long ago?
This was December 2022, so almost 3 years now.
And I mean, did you have, technical knowledge in painting and drawing and illustrating from graphic design, training as a graphic designer? Presumably you've been practicing this.
Yeah, that's the interesting part. I did like every time I had like a crisis in my life, drawing was the thing I like. What do I want to do? Drawing. So first heartbreak, drawing lessons. I stayed there for I think a couple of months. Um, Second heartbreak, painting lessons. Again, a couple of months. But what I was doing there in those lessons was just copying. Like, oh, here's a sculpture. You just need to draw it with pencil. So I learned some techniques about how to measure with the pencil, or uh, doing the shadows and things like that. But I just realized, like, okay, I'm good. I can do this. I can copy something and make it quite realistic and good. But then when it was time for me to be with just a blank piece of paper and draw something, I just felt I can't do it. I'm stuck. So every time I reached that point and I got frustrated or bored, or I just thought, "Oh, I can't do it," and then I would just stop doing it. I would stop trying. And every time I thought, maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's not something, because if it was for me, I would enjoy it. I wouldn't struggle this much. Maybe it's just I'm not. It's not the thing I want to do. But it kept coming back. It kept coming back. And every time I would walk into an art supply store, it's like, I just wanted to buy everything. Like obviously there was something that was calling me, but there was that idea that I couldn't do it because I couldn't do it the way I thought I had to do it. And this is why that moment was like, just do it, even if it looks like crap. I don't care, just do it. It doesn't have to be realistic. Just draw something. And that's the thing that every teacher I had before that, because I went to Bali painting lessons with a Balinese artist. He was teaching me to do Balinese style. And he was like, "You know how to draw?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 I don't know. I promise you. I just know how to copy, but I don't know how to do it." He was like, "No, you do." And I'm like, "No, no, no, I don't." Like, I couldn't see it. Um, but yeah, so I guess I had some training. But when I started painting, I just, it was crazy how many things were in me that I didn't know were there, in terms of maybe I would like to draw something, and if I really concentrated, I could come up with it, like the shape of a hand doing this, or a foot, and it's like, where's that coming from? I didn't know I could do that.
So what do you feel was holding you back before that, or what was it that was unlocked that allowed you to express yourself in this way where you felt I'm not copying,
Hmm.
I'm expressing myself or
I
expressing
think
something?
it's a combination of things. First of all, because I had no contact with the art world really. I had an idea of what an artist is, and I didn't fit into that idea. So it's like, oh, so then I'm not an artist, so I cannot be an artist. So in my idea of an artist can just, like, draw whatever they want, just without, you know, blank canvas, and draw whatever they want without looking at any references or anything. And then, when I started like getting into the process of it, I saw so many artists using like, what do you call it, like projectors, to draw figures, looking at models, looking at real photographs of things so they could kind of like copy the shape of the shape. Like, so you're allowed to do that. You can be, and you can still be an artist. And so that was something that was blocking me for sure. Um, and which in the end is this moment. I don't know if you know the book, how to draw with the right side of the brain or something like that. So it's a very famous book for people who want to learn how to draw. And I bought it and took it with me to Bali. And basically, the book, it gives you some techniques on how to see what you see with your eyes and not with your mind. Stop interpreting reality and just see what's there. And but the book at the beginning says every kid knows how to draw. If you go to a preschool class and you ask the kids, draw an apple or a horse, all of them are going to do it. And you're going to see so many different styles and colors and shapes. And then if you do the same with a class of 10-year-olds, suddenly, oh, no, I don't know how to do it. No, or they try to do this horse that they all look the same because they've been conditioned to think that that's it, that's how you draw. You need to do this. A horse looks like that, and partly is because the way our brain works, and partly because of that conditioning. Like, oh no, you cannot draw a horse with three legs and that is green and with a massive head. That is not correct. So you stop repressing that. So, and I for sure had that in me. I lacked the self confidence of saying I want my horses to be green with three legs and a big head. And if you don't get it, it's a you problem. But that happened. So these things happen along a lifetime, so you're not aware of it. So I think that was a big thing as well, like not trusting my vision. I still struggle with that. It's something I had to constantly I fight with this um, letting go of control, letting go of what other people are gonna think, letting go of no, but a person should look like these are the proportions. Like just let go, just express, and that's why it's so inspiring when I see other artists that draw whatever they want, and if they want to draw a person with huge long arms, they do it because it looks good, and it's like okay, give myself permission to do that. It's an ongoing process.
So what changed? Do you have a sense of why suddenly you felt now I can do this and now I have permission to do it?
Uh, mm, I think probably something was unlocked in that meditation workshop, and I don't have like a name for it or some words to describe it. It's just something, an internal process that happened. I think drawing to me has been a parallel journey with my gaining confidence and knowing myself and being true to myself. Both things go, side by side. And it was just, I think, also that moment of doing the first one and think and gaining confidence with it, like, oh, I can do something, I can do it, so maybe if I can do one, I can do more. But as I say, it's not like, oh, then that happened and then now it's like everything's flowing out, like no struggles. No, there were so many moments of, again, feeling like reaching a point and then going like, oh, but I cannot improve. Maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm not gonna get better than that. Or maybe my style is not good enough. Or those moments of self doubt keep showing up. But the more I do it, the more confident I feel. Yes, and I've also had validation from people I respect
Hmm.
uh, a lot. So that helps, obviously.
Yeah, it's interesting because you talk about this process of almost having been held back or something holding you back or even holding yourself back for many years, even since childhood. And then for me, it's interesting to look at your work now because it's so brimming over with life and vitality. It's almost like bursting with life and energy. It's almost a part of your style now. So I wonder, like, do you feel, is that something that you're conscious of? And a related question, like, do you feel now in the work that you're doing, uh, there's a kind of consistent theme or idea or question or something you're trying to express that runs through it all?
Yes, and that's also something that I had to to have my struggles with, because I had some comments of, "Oh, you're always drawing the same thing," or like quite recently, my 12-year-old nephew made a comment about like, "You're always drawing naked women. It's weird," and I was like, "Is it weird?" You know. And then I became so self-conscious, and then I was like, oh, maybe I should start drawing other things. But it's again this, that's why having inspiration from other artists is so important, because you see other artists that have spent their lives drawing flowers or dots, the famous Japanese painter, I can't remember her name now, and it's like it's their thing. So my thing, at least right now, yes, I draw women and flowers mainly, and because I think that in a way I want to express that part of me that is so repressed, which, as you say, is the full expression, colors, joy, freedom, and it helps me connect with it. Like express it in a way that sometimes I don't know how to express it with words, or I'm too scared to act like it, too self-conscious or whatever. That's a way of letting it out. So that is for sure a running theme. Like women, femininity is also a way of reclaiming my femininity and my sensuality as well. Like, um, because I think that as women, so many times you're scared of, like, your body or your sexuality stops belonging to you. So if you wanna dance, then suddenly it's like, oh, don't dance like that because you're being too provocative, or what people gonna think. So I express all that in the paintings. These women are not trying to do anything or to mm, seduce anyone. They're just being. They're being free. They're being in this world where they can just, you know, run around naked with the animals and the flowers, and there's just joy and freedom. So that is a running theme. Yes, and I also connected to my family history. My mom has started painting now in her 70s, which is beautiful to see, by the way.
Inspired by you.
No, no, no. She is. I think she is an artist,
Hmm.
and she never had the time again, or the confidence, or access to tools or education. So she was just like not expressing that part of herself, and thinking it was silly, and that's not an important thing. You should focus on all more important matters and things like that. But now it's like, you know, I finally, she can have the time, and she can give herself permission to focus on that. And she tells me sometimes she can't sleep because she's in bed, and she's, all these ideas and projects and are in her head, and it's just, I love seeing it. And her art is so expressive. She paints, like a dead tree in the garden. She painted it because she saw like I don't know, some type of animal, fantastic animal. So she painted with colors and put an eye on it, and she just, I don't know, amazing.
Wow,
So
incredible.
yes, so I think is that's why I connect so much to the feminine energy and the femininity in women. Is also seeing my mom or my grandma, how much they've struggled in life, and how little space they had to express joy, or to follow their
Hmm.
dreams, or even consider they had dreams to follow.
Hmm.
um so it's a way of reclaiming that as well. I don't know, it just comes from within.
Yeah, amazing. The Japanese artist, did you mean Yayoi Kusama?
Yes. Mm.
Um, so just to follow up on what you were saying there, do you feel like making art, do you feel it changes you as well?
Yes, yes, for sure. Um, it just it helps me. Again, it's like a parallel journey. Like I grow with my art, and then I grow myself, and then my art grows, and it's not one thing or the other. It's both things intertwine, and it just having that something that belongs to me. This is why I'm so passionate about art, like what it's called or what it was called, primitive art or outsiders art. Art that from people that do not have art degrees, that maybe never had access to the art world. They just create because they need to or they want to. And I feel a bit the same. And I feel that so many times because of everyone has an opinion, and because we have become quite narrow minded in that sense, like, oh, to be an artist is to be this and this. You need to maybe have some education on it, or you need to be good at it. Why do you need to be good at it? And who decides what that is? And like, is that even a thing? So when I see these artists that have arts are so um, raw, like kids, they're untouched by all that crap. They just like paint what they want, what they can, and they just do it. That is so inspiring, and I want to connect with that myself, because I think that also helps me being that raw self in other areas of my life,
Hmm.
instead of
Hmm.
so constricted by everyone's opinions. And so, as I say, yeah, both things kind of like help each other.
So in the run up to recording this show, you sent me a link to an artist called Seraphine de Senlis as
Hmm.
an example of the type of artist you're talking about.
Yeah.
Can you just describe a little bit about her for those who don't know her or aren't familiar with her?
Yes, I discovered her through that post that I sent you, and it's one of those stories that I find so inspiring. So this was a French artist. She was born mid 19th century, and she was born in like very, mm, in amongst very hard circumstances. Like, her mom died when she was just 1 year old, and she lost her dad when she was 6. So it was just her and her sister. Imagine 19th century, and they just had to survive however they could. So she started working in a monastery or something like that, and then she started cleaning houses. And she was barely getting paid for that. Like back then, even they would give you maybe shelter and food and little else. But she had this connection with nature. She was obviously a very sensitive person, very special person. So when she finished her working hours, she would go out and talk to the trees and spend time in nature and feel that connection. So she started painting it with no formal or informal education of any kind. She just, at night, with a candle, she would start painting flowers and nature, and she felt the need to do it. And then some German, like, art, what do you call it, like an art vendor, like somebody that like connects artists with clients, merchant, is that the word?
Possibly, yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, he was just staying at this hostel, whatever, where she was cleaning, and she was enamored with the paintings. And then they told her, "Oh, it's the cleaning lady." And he was like, "What?" So he started taking her paintings and selling them, uh, and they created like a friendship. But then the First World War started, and then all of this was lost. And then she sadly, I guess because she felt very lost and very lonely, she really struggled with her mental health. She ended up in a mental institution, and then at some point she died. Um, but I don't know. I like think how many artists are there in the world right now like this woman. Like my mom is a bit similar, like somebody that didn't have the tools, but she just feels the need to do it, and she does it. And every time I bring friends and show her art pieces, they're all like, "Oh my god!" This energy that comes out of them, also very expressive, very colorful. So, yeah, I I find that her story very very inspiring.
Amazing. Yeah, and we'll put a link to the post you're talking about in the show notes,
Mm.
and people can
And
take a look at her
yeah.
work, Seraphine Descendles's work.
Hmm. Yes, and there's
Um,
another one as well that I discovered recently. Who's
okay.
but I'm not gonna say her name because I'm gonna butcher it. But I'll try. Like Cam Kwanger. Oh, I'm gonna do it. Just Google Aboriginal Australian artist,
Okay.
and she started painting herself in her 60s.
Huh.
Again, no formal education. She couldn't write or read, and she just started painting because she needed to. And then she also became very successful. So I guess it's my way of saying, if somebody's listening to this or watching this and feeling like they're not good enough, or it's too late for them, or they're never gonna make it, it's like, no, 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 you can do it. Even if nobody discovers you and you don't sell your art to anyone, it doesn't matter.
So that, I mean, do you think that being an artist is a choice or a compulsion? And I suppose,
uh,
like, a related question is it our destiny? You know, do you think there's some people, like, you referred to Seraphine Descendles as being this very sensitive person. Do you think some people are just given these sensitivities that, I
yeah,
don't know?
yes, I do. Um, I do. I think I don't like the word compulsion because it sounds a bit negative.
Hmm.
Maybe the need to do it, uh, or yeah, the impulse. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're born for sure. And I don't know if we're all born artists. Just some of us cannot contain it anymore, and others are more, the happier containing that and being more like normal. Uh, uh, because I always think like, you know, people in the cavemen were painting, and they were making music, and many other art forms that have been lost, probably storytelling, for sure.
Hmm.
So that need is intrinsic to being human. I don't know if
Hmm.
there's any other animal that have that need. I think
Hmm.
probably is what makes us unique the most. And why does that happen? I have no idea. It just happens. Mm, this need to create, to express something that is not necessarily to mm, earn money with it, or to, it doesn't have a purpose that you can say, oh, I do this because it's useful. It's just this thing that you just need to do it. And when you try to repress it, it become ill, I think. That's something that actually, um, when I started drawing in Bali and I started painting, I felt that. I felt like something woke up in me, almost like I felt like a current of energy, like that wanted to come out. And I thought if I try to stop it, I'm gonna get ill.
Hmm. Do you know where it came from, this current of energy?
I mean, I we know I'm a spiritual person, and I believe we are made. We all have a purpose in life, or we are designed for something. And I think that I am design, or part of my design includes painting. If I
Hmm.
try to repress that, it's like I'm trying to repress a part of myself. And then
Hmm.
it's when you start contracting and tensing up, and then you become ill. Now, where does that come from? God, I guess.
Beautiful. So I think maybe I know the answer to this question already based on what you're saying, but do you think you would still do this if, you know, the world ended and you ended up in a cave like our ancestors by
Oh my God.
yourself? And nobody, nobody's gonna see your art, nobody's gonna, it's just you. Would you still do
I would do it more, I think.
it?
You know, like I don't know if you feel the same. It's such a human thing to worry about the material part of life, Well, how am I going to make money? What's going to happen in the future? I need to, worry about that. Like that takes up so much energy, at least for me. And
Yeah.
I remember when I was in Bali again, I just had this moment of, if there was, why am I always worrying about these things and what people are going to think, and if people like me, if they don't like me? And I just had this moment of, if there was nobody on planet Earth, some freak accident, everyone dies except me. And I'm just on my own. So there's nobody to love me or not love me. There's just no one. What would I do? And I just thought I would go to the beach. I would live on the beach. I would paint coconuts and palm trees and just create little, like huts and houses for the animals. And I would just be wild and paint. So I think I would paint more if there was nobody to see it.
Amazing, amazing. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't, I guess because I'm a writer, I don't know that I would write in the
No?
cave, but because basically I think writing is actually just talking to yourself or talking to somebody who isn't there, and also maybe a bit of mixed in with kind of like uh, acting in your head. It's like you're acting out things.
Hmm.
And I think when I was a kid, I used to like, yeah, talk to myself and act things out by myself. And I think if I was alone in a cave at the end of the world, I would totally do that. I mean, I do that in my apartment anyway. So
Really?
yeah, I talk to myself about like what I'm doing in the kitchen and stuff. Maybe I should be more courageous and playful as you suggest, and go back to what I used
Yes,
to do when I was a kid. Like I would literally like act things out as many kids did.
yes,
You
I
know?
think so. And I think we need men to express that side,
Yeah,
you know,
I
a
agree.
lot, like the playfulness and the yeah, the light side of things. And I was gonna
Yeah,
ask you, so where do you think that current, that creation, the impulse, where do you think it comes from?
I don't know. I think it's a mystery, and I prefer to keep it as a mystery. I think we're always looking to explain things these days and have a solid answer. And I think some things want to be mysterious, and some things are like I think yeah, everything is inherently mysterious, and things like that are particularly so. So yeah, I prefer to say I just don't know.
And were there any other storytellers in your family?
Um, in terms of professionally speaking, I don't not that I can recall. But I think yeah, I think both my mum and dad are quite into storytelling. Uh,
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I mean, do you consider yourself? Do you like the label artist? Is that something that you feel?
Oof, imposter syndrome. I love the label artist. I love it because I always had such admiration for it. Now I still struggle calling myself an artist.
Okay, so do you? I mean, Do you now consider it part of who you are, or do you feel there was a time when suddenly you were like, now I can say this is part of who I am?
I am getting more and more comfortable with identifying at least a part of
Hmm.
myself as an artist.
Hmm.
Yes,
Hmm.
I think
Great.
with practice and with gaining confidence, it's like I feel like I've earned it. I'm earning it more and more.
And about your practice, so do you have like a space that you prefer to make art in? Is there a dedicated place? Do you like going off anywhere on retreat and taking time out to create things? What's your routine look like?
I do have a almost all my house is a studio now. I have my bedroom, the kitchen, and then the rest is I had a sofa. The sofa no more. I put a big table. Um, so I like to create at home.
Hmm.
I um I think it's part of the gaining confidence, like the process of
Hmm.
gaining that confidence. At home is where I feel the safest, so I can relax more. I love the idea of going into nature and painting, but I never do it. As an idea, is amazing, but then I sit at home and paint. But I would love to have a shared space with other creatives for sure. When we where we can go and just not necessarily interact much. We can do it, have a coffee or something, but not about just creating together, but like each one of us on our own project, but like sharing that
Hmm.
energy. That's
Sure.
something that I would love to have.
Yeah. And do you like to, take yourself off places? I mean, you kind of did an artist retreat in Bali
Hmm.
when you had this epiphany. Is that something that you'd like to do regularly?
Yes, I actually I would love to travel more. It's
Hmm.
not now. It's not my priority, but it's something that again is that seeing references and
Mm.
uh, artists and like I remember one of the things that I found so inspiring about Asia is the color. We become so boring here in Europe. It's ugh, and everything is super neutral and beige and gray and that can be nice, but everything is so uniform and monotone. And then
Hmm.
going to
Hmm.
these countries where like everything is so colorful and expressive and so it's like this external validation. So I think that is important. And what I'm trying to do now is to connect more with my roots here in Galicia, with
Hmm. Hmm.
um, local artists, uh, the architecture, the landscape, like trying to, um, in a way, I think I kind of escaped that a little bit uh, because I always wanted to travel and see the world and and I ignored all of this. But my roots run like they go very deep here, so I think it's almost a way of reclaiming who I am. And so I think yes, I love seeing like different like going to museums and galleries and exhibitions and places. Yeah, for sure, it's very inspiring.
And is there something in particular you're working on at the moment? Is there a project that
Hmm.
is coming next for you?
So I finished my first portrait of our friend Anna. I don't know why. I'm just trying to. I just realized one thing is that I cannot force myself to paint things I don't want to paint. I mean, I can do it, but it normally doesn't work that well. If I just let go of control and just trust that inner voice of like, now I want to paint this, it suddenly is much more enjoyable the process. And just a couple of weeks ago, I just for some reason I thought I want to paint Anna. And I did it. I think it was inspired by her. She was wearing a blue dress and stuff, so I was inspired by that. And I just saw it in my head and I painted it. So that was my last project. And now I'm going to have, I think, my first commission from my sister to work on a painting for her living room, which is going to be interesting, like different approach. But
And
yeah,
do you have, has she given you a remit, or it's whatever you
not
want to do?
not yet. No, she gave me the dreaded "do whatever you want," which is like, no, please, give me some
Uh,
boundaries as a
okay, okay,
creative,
okay.
even if it's on that. But
Yeah.
um, we haven't looked at it yet.
So do you make art every day, or you wait for these kind of inspirational moments to come along?
I do try to do it every day. Yes. I'm also learning to um, not push too hard, which I find
Mm-hmm.
difficult because,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the same for you, but it's this guilt or, oh, I should be, am I being lazy? Am I avoiding the work?
Mm-hmm.
and, but, so I tend to go all in one thing and then get burnt out eventually. So I'm trying to be with more balance. Like, yeah, I want to keep it consistent, but I
Mm-hmm.
also want to be aware there are moments where I just need to rest or just do something different. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You can take a couple of days off to just, I don't know, go for a walk, long walks, or go see friends, and it's okay. You're not
Mm-hmm.
becoming a lazy POS, avoiding the work, and that's a learning process for me, at least. Is it the same for you?
Um, yeah, I think probably I work less now than I did before. I think maybe I had a degree of workaholism around
Mhm.
being a
Mhm.
writer previously.
Mhm.
And I kind of thought, well, if I'm not producing this much every day, or if I'm not sitting at my desk this much every day, and much more now, I try to kind of have more variety, because I find that ultimately I just, the well ran dry. I wasn't actually being that creative, and I find now doing shorter, sharper sessions and then spending the rest of my time, replenishing the well so that I am inspired
Exactly.
is really important for me.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing for me. Like I used to be also very workaholic about everything I did. I was like that, and I always thought that's how you create. That's how I build a business. By becoming obsessed with
Mm,
it. And I'm
hmm
finding it harder and harder to do now. Like I want to go there because that's my automatic, but it's like my body is like, mm-mm, oh, we're not doing that anymore. so,
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Yeah, exactly. And can you tell us what your biggest influences are? Do you kind of think in those terms?
um, yes, I mean, big names like Matisse and Picasso are big influences because of that freedom.
Hmm
Actually, Picasso, he started painting like a he was classic. His dad was an art school teacher. So he was taught how to paint very early on in his life, and he could do very realistic paintings.
hmm
And then he was inspired by this primitive art, like
hmm
African art.
hmm
And so I guess he did the same journey of like going, like releasing all the, oh, yeah, but you need to paint this way, you need to do this, and just connecting with that inner voice. So I like that from him, from Matisse, very creative. But then I like many little painters. I love Lauren de la Roche. I'm gonna butcher names here today.
hmm
American painter, also not formally trained. Leah Fraser as well, Australian painter. All women both. Um, I really um, um, like tribal art. I don't know if that's the correct word to say it, but like again, like this primitive art that you can see all around the world from so many different cultures. and it's so raw and powerful and symbolic, and especially I love like the art by the Dogon people in Mali. It's incredible, like out of this world. Like, sometimes I see certain pieces of art, and I just go, how can you not believe in God or something else? Because if you look at this, like, where did that come from? That is incredible. Like the imagination, like when you see a like, Studio Ghibli movie, and it's like, where did that came from? That the imagine is just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd say those are some references, and I'm always like trying to find new artists on Instagram mainly.
Amazing. Yeah, we'll drop links to some of those artists and the Dogon people in the show notes as well, so people can check those out. And outside of the visual arts and crafts, uh, and even outside of other art forms, if you like, what do you find sparks your creativity? What inspires you?
Uh, Oy. I guess nature, very
Hmm.
cliche, but it's true. I've always said like nature is the best designer there is. The patterns it creates are incredibly beautiful. The colors. So I guess that's a big inspiration, and I don't know, women in general. Mm, it's just like where you draw the line when it becomes art, because I like dresses or textiles. That is a form of art as well, but I'm so inspired by that. Um, yeah, I'd say those. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not even sure, because inspiration is so random. Just
Hmm.
suddenly it's like, like I said, like, oh, paint Anna. It's like, what? What? Why? I don't know. Just do it. So
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where it comes from. I guess I've just absorbed lots of things, and at some point it's like, okay, now this created.
Amazing. And how do you see the role of art in our society today?
Uh, I think I think we all need it in our lives, and we need to see it and we need to create it.
Hmm.
I know there's a big trend of people going back to making stuff with their hands, like pottery having a big comeback moment. Everyone's like doing pottery at the moment, me included. Uh, and I dislike how art has become like, or some type of art, or the art, it's become a business, and it's become luxury items, and it's become this thing that is almost like, it's, to me, it's a bit corrupt, like the whole like gallery system, and there's something about uh, that I struggle with, because I think art belongs to everyone.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that as an artist you cannot charge for your work. What I mean is that art shouldn't be a luxury item for just a few people that can afford it. It's like art is, everyone can make it and enjoy it, and it's because it's part of our souls. Um, and I think, I don't know. I don't know what role it plays. Mm, I don't know if I have an answer for that. What do you think?
I think it's very human. I think it's part of being a human being is to make art, and I think uh, when we try to outsource that to machines, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Well, I mean, of course, and to me, maybe, yeah, like maybe art nowadays is, it, it needs to become less about consuming other people's art and creating your own art as a way of processing all the grief and all the sorrow and all the mm, the worrying, the fear that so many of us are feeling at the moment, with the state of the world and feeling so much uncertainty and cost of living and all those things and wars. And I think we all feel an uneasiness. And maybe the role of art right now is about expressing all that somehow. And that doesn't mean that you need to, like in my case, it's not about maybe expressing the grief, it's about expressing the joy you would like to feel. Maybe
That's
it's
beautiful. Well, I think that's a great point to finish the conversation on.
okay.
So, Maria, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
And yeah, hope to have you again sometime for another conversation.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, thank you.
A huge thank you again to Maria Vázquez for being such a wonderful interviewee. In the show notes below, I'll drop links to her Instagram and website so you can go and follow her and check out some of the amazing visual art that she's beginning to showcase alongside her incredible interior design work. She really was such a joy to speak to, and I hope you've enjoyed the episode as much as I have. If you have enjoyed the episode, please do like and subscribe, as it really helps the channel gain traction, and also comment below your thoughts and share them with Maria and with myself. Um, we'll be back next week with another interview with another incredible artist. I hope you can join us then, and thank you for joining us today, and bye for now.